This girl is me at 16 years old, dancing in the rain. It is pouring outside, and I decided to go and dance in the rain alone because why not? This was 3 years ago, and since then, I have been living my life intentionally and trying my best to spend as much time with myself alone as possible. And a lot of people will find that crazy. Why would you want to spend time with yourself alone when you always are alone? You're alone when you sleep, you're alone when you brush your teeth, but that's not you being alone intentionally. See, today we're going to be talking about how to get comfortable alone in moments where it would make your skin crawl. My name is Lyla, and I'm your host for Becoming Disscomfortable, a Gen Z podcast dedicated to preparing you to become the best version of yourself. Today's episode is all about how to become your own dream girl, because it's possible, it's been done, and I'm gonna teach you how to do it. And from experience, it is the most liberating thing I've ever done for myself. We're going deep today. We're talking the inner work and the things that you need to do inside, that you need to feel inside in order to get to this point. These are things that you cannot see in person, are not necessarily tangible, but they have such a strong impact on your life that they will change your external reality. People's reactions to you, in the way that you look at yourself, perceive yourself, and in the way that you are perceived by other people, and tons of other stuff. When I'm alone, I don't feel lonely. Finally got the time and love that I owe me. Used to be a stranger to myself. Now I'm the only one that knows me well. Okay, I'm forgetting the lyrics, but point blank, I love this song because it encapsulates exactly the process you go through, the things you feel when you finally realize that being alone does not equal being lonely. There's a huge difference between the two, and that is exactly the myth that we're going to be deconstructing today. From biking to rollerblading to going to cafes alone, I've been doing this for years, and now I'm even dipping my toes in solo travel because it feels incredible. And it's one thing to be naturally introverted and like to keep to yourself, and it's another entirely to actually get comfortable being alone in situations that make your skin crawl. This is a deliberate attempt on your part to make yourself do things that you don't want to do, hence dissing the comfort, which is all we talk about on this podcast. Learning how to be alone and getting accustomed to it is honestly a skill. It's a skill of its own, especially when you're in public. For the purposes of this video, being in the shower or brushing your teeth or sleeping, those things don't count, okay? Those are not deliberate attempts on your part to get comfortable with being alone. Those are things you have to do alone, okay? This is stuff that you don't to do alone, but you make yourself do alone on purpose. Nobody forced me to go to cafes alone necessarily, or to go biking or do these things. Like, I did them alone because I wanted to, and because I wanted to push myself out of my shell, and I wanted to see how far can Lyla go and how uncomfortable can I get before it's like too uncomfortable for me, if you know what I mean. I am not going to lie to you. Having friends, being able to make social connections and memories with other people is amazing, and it will fill up your life and make you feel so content. We are wired to be social. It literally makes us live longer, so it's very important. However, if you let the wrong people into your life, they can end up draining you and harming you like no one else, okay? And the best way for you to discern between these people and keep them out of your life, repel the people you don't want, and attract the people that you do want in your life is by knowing who you are and being secure in yourself. And these things come with solitude. I promise you from experience, the one thing that helped me figure it out was deliberate solitude. But I did not always know that. In fact, less than even a year before this video was taken, I was absolutely miserable. I actually have a distinct memory of me crying on a hill during lunchtime. It was kind of one of my lowest of my lows. Crying at school had become the norm for me at this point, but like, this was another level of low, okay? It was during COVID. I'm really grateful for COVID in a way because it allowed me to truly step into myself and become the person that I am today. But obviously COVID was COVID. COVID was COVID, okay? Nobody asked for it, nobody wanted it, nobody liked it. However, it paved the way for who I am. COVID forced me to grow and change in a way that I don't think we're gonna be seeing again anytime soon. So during COVID, I lost all of my friends, okay? This is the reason why, although COVID was horrible, I'm grateful for it in a way because it really brought out the true in a lot of people. The people that I had been surrounding myself with, I always knew inside that these were people that I did not want to be surrounded with. I had nothing in common with them, no particular interests that aligned. We literally hung out in school simply because we had nobody else to hang out with. The girl that I was at the time, she would rather hang out with somebody that she did not like, that did not bring any value into her life. She would rather hang out with them than be alone. I was that scared of being alone. And to be honest, when you put yourself in the shoes of a high schooler in the middle of a global pandemic, it makes sense. You care a lot about what other people think about you and the way that you're perceived. When you're constantly surrounded by people who have their own friend groups or like a small, group or couple of friends, it makes you feel miserable when you don't, when you haven't found your girls yet, when you haven't found your tribe. Yeah, you don't feel great. And so because of that, I would resort to basically hanging out with anybody that would hang out with me. COVID came and what happened was we got divided into cohorts. So basically those people that I would hang out with, I could no longer hang out with. So I had nobody left to hang out with at lunch in the cohort that I was in. Roaming the hallways alone, having people staring at you is not fun. And one day I just broke. Like I walked outside and sat down on a hill near my school and I just cried, bawling my eyes out because I was so miserable and I was so tired of feeling this way all the time. It's kind of like I finally had to admit to myself, like, okay, I don't have anybody. I don't have anyone. I was finally, like, COVID forced me to come to terms with that. I had to accept that. It's that phase of acceptance that you go through, me crying my eyes out there. That was a very tough time in my life. And that entire year had been very tough for me. When I say that I've been low, I have been low. Okay, this is not even the most. Just because I have the confidence and the ability to talk and communicate and be okay with being alone today doesn't mean I always was like this, okay? Because that girl was miserable because I used to conflate loneliness with being alone. I used to think that they were the same thing when they're not. So the first thing I did was accept it. I don't know if we're gonna have another global pandemic, but honestly, I don't think you should wait for a global pandemic. Know your worth. Understand that your time is valuable. Ask yourself about the people in your life right now. Do you actually want to be spending time with them? With that acceptance came the question, why am I so scared? Why am I actually so afraid of being alone? And I honestly had no clue. So after that, I decided, well, you know what? Life sucks, so I might as well focus on me, prioritize myself, and do other things. So what I ended up doing was getting really busy. Whether you want to do this or not, it's up to you. I'm sharing what worked for me. I realized, okay, there are more things to life than just this. I was crying, I was miserable. There's no happy ending here. Nobody magically appeared to give me a hand or ask me if I was okay. It was a tough lesson, but it was a lesson needed to be learned, okay? Because that day taught me that the only person that I have to rely on, the only person whose opinion matters and who cares about me the most is me. And that's not to say that you can't have people in your life that you can depend on, absolutely. But before any of that, you have to be there for yourself. You can't expect people to be there for you. You can't expect people to care if you don't put that time, effort, and love into yourself. Nobody wanted to hang out with me at the time because I didn't want to hang out with me. I wasn't comfortable being alone with myself. So why would somebody be comfortable hanging out with me? And it's not because I was a bad person or something. I was just conditioned in this society. You're kind of made to feel as though being alone, spending time alone is a bad thing. Loneliness is arguable, yes, but being alone? No. So from that day forward, I vowed to make a difference in my life, to at least try to find something better for myself. I knew there was something better out there, and I knew that it didn't have to be contingent on people. There was a tiny part of me that always knew that, but I refused to believe it until those people had literally been taken out of my life. And like I said, we might not have a global pandemic anymore, so I need you to come to terms with this on your own. I need you to look around you, observe, analyze the people in your life, analyze what you're doing right now. Are you actually comfortable enough with standing alone even when there are people going to be staring at you? Are you comfortable enough in your own skin to be alone regardless of what other people think of you? Because if you are, congratulations, babe, you've made it. But most of us are not there, and most of us take a really, really long time to get there. It took me a long time to get used to it, okay? But once I did, that just opened the doors, and it's been opening the doors for me since. The more comfortable I got in my own skin, I promise you, the better the quality of my life became. The better the quality of the people that entered my life after that became. It was insane. I forced myself to do things that did not require friends. I got a job. I was a student athlete, so I was playing a sport at the time. I've talked about the importance of sports and what they do for you in my hobbies video, but just to summarize, hobbies, sports, they are literally like a lifesaver for you, for your mental health, for your physical health, for your well-being overall, and for your confidence. Because I was kind of freed from the shackles of these non-existent friendships that I had been keeping up, this was literally an illusion. It was a facade. It was a lie I kept telling myself just to ease my pain. Oh, I have people in my life. I have friends. Like, no, babe, you didn't at the time, and it's okay. It's okay to admit that you don't have friends. Having friends is great, but that doesn't mean that life cannot be great without them, because it most certainly can be. Now that I had a lot more time on my hands, a lot more time to myself to think alone, like if you listen to that song again, having the time to just hear yourself think really gives you a different level of perspective on life that you can't get when you have people yapping in your ears all the time, people that you don't want for to be in your life. Now that I had all that time to myself, I started to put it into myself. I started to focus on hobbies that meant a lot to me: basketball, biking, rollerblading. I started going out a bit more to cafes, going on walks alone. I don't just do this stuff for fun, like hot girl walks, all the things you see me doing in my videos, taking care of myself, spending time alone, solo traveling, doing all these things. Like it didn't just magically happen. I had to build my way up there. And also there was that origin story, right? Crying on that hill. Like, I still remember that day vividly. I remember the way I felt during the first 2 to 3 years of high school and how miserable I was, even though I was trying my hardest to convince myself that I was not. Breaking through that barrier of illusion, delusion, and then funneling that energy into me allowed me to develop a relationship with myself that I am so proud of today. I got into one of my hobbies, like film and video editing, all of this stuff. I got into it because I now had so much more time to focus on myself. I took on so many hobbies during that year. I just became the busiest I've ever been. And I'm not saying busy is always a good thing to be, but at that stage of my life, oh my goodness, it saved me. The first thing you need to understand is the power of solitude. The biggest thing you're missing out on if you do not practice enough solitude is the chance to get ahead. I love my generation, but to be very honest with you, a lot of you are very scared to be alone. Like, you will not leave your house simply because you are too afraid to go to a cafe and sit there and eat alone. I have figured out what I want to do with my life through introspection. Introspection is such a huge and unbelievably underrated aspect of life that nobody honestly talks about. So I've been able to figure out what I want to do with my life, my purpose, my goals, my vision, where I want to go, where I see myself, who I am as a person, understanding myself and becoming secure within myself. I have been able to do all of this through introspection. When you're able to hear your own thoughts, when they're not blocked out by distractions. We've all had moments where we have filled our lives up with distractions. No more chaos of fake friends. I finally began to understand the value of my own time, and that made me super confident. Introspection will give you time to work through your insecurities, to put a plan together, to form a vision for your life, to get your life together in ways that most people are not prioritizing. And these things combined together will give you the confidence that you need to move through life gracefully and without the pressure of external opinions. When your opinion becomes valuable enough to you, the voices outside of you, they begin to lessen. Like, the impact that they have on your life, it slowly decreases more and more and more. So on that note, let's talk about becoming your own best friend. I have best friends now, and I love them and I want to spend time with them. But even though I have friends today, I still enjoy my solitude so unbelievably much. I'm an ambivert, so I like both. Because of the experiences that I've gone through, I now fully understand the importance of solitude, and I make sure to factor that in even when I'm hanging out with friends friends, I still take a step back to hear my own thoughts, to give myself time to reflect, to give myself time to learn about myself and process the moments that I've had with other people and with myself. It's now become a habit that continuously allows me to grow. So this isn't about having friends or not having friends. This is a habit that you should be adopting in your life every single day. It's not contingent on your social life necessarily, but your social life is contingent on it, because your relationship to yourself will directly impact your relationship with other people. And I'm gonna get into why that is. Before that crying episode on the hill, I had never actually had like a true friend besides childhood friends that I'd grown up with. I would say that it's more of an advantage when you have childhood friends. And even with my childhood friends, I actually had to go through a phase where we had to rekindle our friendship without the push from our parents. There comes a time where every single friendship in your life, like, you need to be intentional about it, and they need to be intentional about it in order for it to work. But during this phase of my life, I learned about manifestation. I learned how it kind of works, how, you know, who you are as a person and everything that you do in your own time, your thoughts, your feelings, that allows you to attract people that are on your level, right? So I kind of started to learn about those things, and I started to apply those to my life. And I kid you not, the results actually scare me to this day, because a lot of the things I was writing in my book, like in my manifestation book, literally came true. Most of that stuff was about friends, because I was in that phase of my life where it's like, gee, it would be nice to have friends in my life, you know? It would be nice for me to have a group of friends to hang out with and make memories with before I graduate high school. So it's kind of like really putting pressure on that. But now it was not coming from a place of desperation, but rather a place of hopefulness and like kind of like a dessert or something like on the side. It would be nice to have, but it's not absolutely necessary for me to be living my life. At this point, I had now become comfortable in my own shoes, comfortable enough in my own skin to say no to people that I did not want for to be in my life, to say no to things that, even if they made me alone, I would rather be alone than have something that would decrease the quality of my life, if you know what I mean. Before all of this, I'd felt invisible my entire life. Now I was in a phase where I was honestly the main character. I used to think I was being delulu or that I'm so self-absorbed or something, but I could actually see the difference in the way that people treated me and acknowledged me in person, from strangers to acquaintances, everything just changed. It literally changes when you become the main character. It's not just like you, like, yes, the way that you feel about yourself changes as well, but when that happens simultaneously or along that, close to that time, the people around you start to see you differently. And so I had more people reaching out to me. I feel like I became a lot more approachable, because when people see you living in your own light, they want a part of that. And this is where the process truly begins. How did I find this? Again, through hobbies, through working on myself, prioritizing myself. At this phase of my life, I had started journaling, doing things that went, hobbies and things that went back to my childhood. When I was younger, I used to write a lot. And so getting back into writing, getting back into reading, getting back into sports and things that made me feel incredible, doing all those things, putting time into myself, learning new skills, getting a job, becoming a little bit more independent, learning more about finances, just learning, okay, improving the overall quality and experiences of my life is what led me to this point, to the point where I was now attracting more and more people that I actually wanted to be in my life. But this isn't about those people. This video is about you, okay? I'm just saying that those are additional extra benefits that you get from becoming the main character of your life. Getting comfortable within your own skin allows you to do all of these things, okay? So I encourage you to go and do something that scares the shit out of you. Recently, I heard of people saying that they feel uncomfortable sitting in a cafe alone, like that gives them a lot of anxiety. So go and do it. Like, if it gives you anxiety, you have to go and do anything. I feel like my rule in my life is that anything that gives me anxiety, that's the thing that I try to push myself towards even more. If you can't go to a restaurant, then start with a cafe, start with a coffee shop, start with a walk. Go on a walk by yourself and slowly build your way up. I used to go on walks on my own and biking and rollerblading, and then eventually I started going to restaurants and cafes, and now it's up to solo travel. It didn't happen in one day. It took a while. It took quite frankly, it took me months, years, you know, but that's not the point. The point isn't how long it takes you. The point is that you get to that stage from A to Z. Because I get it, when you are alone, you don't have those distractions, right? You become self-conscious, and that's okay. That's totally normal. If you haven't listened to Emma Chamberlain's podcast, like, this girl has millions of subscribers and she deals with this. She has times where she doesn't even want to leave her house, where she cannot physically leave her house because she just can't bring herself to do it. Like, we all go through phases like that, but it's one thing to have that fear and sit in it, and it's another to actually at least try, at least make an effort to break out of it. Oh my goodness, I just took a little break and I came across a video that I took the following year after the video that I took on the hill. So I took that video on the hill. Remember the video on the hill? I was miserable. I don't know how to explain it, but that moment was just, it was brutal for me. Fast forward a year later, I'm in a new school, and going to a new school is even scarier than remaining in your own school. Even if it's toxic, at least I knew the surroundings, I knew the areas. This was an entirely new world now. I was in a new place, new people, new community. I was scared AF, but you know what? This time, the video that I took was completely different. I just found this video. If you're watching the video podcast, you'll be able to see this. In that video, I took my lunch outside. I found a nice little grassy field to sit in, and I did this deliberately. The year before this, when I was crying, I was not doing that willingly. Fast forward 1 year later, I am willingly going outside, sitting in this field, even though there were people inviting me to sit with them, and I politely declined, and I said, you know what? I love spending time with myself enough. Like, I went outside, I sat on the field, I enjoyed my meal, I was listening to the birds chirp, I was recording the sky because it looked absolutely stunning. I found this new appreciation for life and for the beauty surrounding me. This is the thing, our own thoughts, we get in our way. We get in the way of ourselves, you know, and so picking up on that pattern allows you to break the pattern and find a new level of appreciation for life. I put these two memories together, like, side by side, and the parallels are like insane. That was me a year ago. And a year later, I'm sitting on grassy fields and enjoying my meals alone. I'm dancing in the rain alone and going to cafes to study and biking and playing basketball just only a year later. Like, it's crazy how much your life can change in a year, in 6 months, a year, a couple years. I know it feels like this endless cycle that you're kind of living in, and you feel stuck. It kind of feels like you're never gonna get out of it. But you can, I promise you. I never could have imagined myself being the girl that dances in the rain alone. Never in a million years would I have thought that I would be doing something like that. And yet, here I am, and I found myself, and I healed myself, and I secured myself. That is what being alone does. It gives you the freedom to be you. And I know that sounds cheesy and corny, but it's the truth. With ups and downs, you know, I still get times where I'm like sad or down or I have problems in my life. When you're trying more things, when you're doing more things with your life, you're also gonna have more problems. So that is it. Like, you do not know what you are capable of until you give yourself the chance and the freedom to try that, to express yourself, to find out who you truly are. Okay? If you don't try to push yourself out there, nobody's gonna do it for you. So your homework for this video is to go and do something alone that you have never done alone before, that makes you feel a little bit anxious about doing alone. I want you to go and try doing something like that. Like, for me, the next thing is the movies. I want to go to the movies. I will as soon as I can. And also, this is a huge tip that has helped me significantly, and it allows me to, like, reflect back on my life. And I talked about the importance of reflecting. Document yourself. Document yourself through your good times, through your bad times. You don't need to post them online, but just keep them for yourself. Without these videos, I honestly think I would have forgotten all of this stuff. Like, being able to look back at this, like, literally look back and see those visuals, see myself in that phase of my life, is very interesting, and it shows me just how far I've come and how proud I am of the girl that I have become today. Make it something fun, trying a solo date for the first time, and you're documenting that and recording that for yourself so that future you is gonna look back at that and be like, damn girl, we have come so far. It's just gonna show you that you're capable of even more. Even in your lowest of your lowest moments, you're gonna realize, like, I pushed through that, I can do it again and again and again and again, because that is what life is. Oh, also, I mostly talked from like a friend's perspective, but I also kind of was like, being alone obviously also means being single. Not only is it, oh, there's something on my mic. Not only is this gonna help you hopefully find the tribe, your girls, the people that you're looking for that are on your level, that are matching your energy, but it can also help you with a significant other. You're not gonna be single forever. You're not going to be alone forever. So enjoy this time and make the most of it. When I started like thriving in my friendships, it kind of got to the point where it was a bit overwhelming for me. All of a sudden there were like, everybody wanted to hang out. I would have to cancel on people and then I would feel bad about that. Like, it got to that point. Like, before my problem was not having anybody to hang out with. Now my problem was, and kind of is still, finding that balance between your social life and spending time alone. Because once you spend time alone, once you focus on yourself and prioritize yourself, you become addicted to it. I kid you not. People who have done this before, they will tell you living in solitude is so peaceful that it becomes an addiction, and it's kind of hard to separate yourself from that. So now that's my problem. Like, now I have the opposite problem, and I'm trying to like get away from that and put myself into social situations more, kind of interact with people, because I'm too comfortable being on my own now. In my opinion, the latter is the better problem, so just focus your way up to it. Everybody has their own problems. Everybody is dealing with a different problem in their life. Regardless of what phase you're in, you're gonna be dealing with problems all your life, okay? So you might as well like make the most of your time being single, being alone, because when you're not, like, it's going to get more complicated. It's gonna get more overwhelming. Life may be better, but it's going to be a lot more for you to juggle, right? Right now is probably when you're going to be at the most peace, when you're going to have the most time to prioritize yourself and to hear yourself. I can only speak to my own experiences, and that is exactly what I did. I took it day by day by day, slowly every single day, and it's those things slowly combining, and it's like the culmination of all of that have turned me and shaped me into who I am today. So, moral of the episode, I became my own best friend, and funny enough, that is when I met my real friends. Let that be your goal for this year. I hope you found value in this video. If you did, make sure to let me know down below in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next episode.